Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be opening up some Structured X Cyber Strike. So I'm really excited to open this for you guys, because you guys have been requesting this down in the comments a lot recently, for me to actually open up Structured X Cyber Strike. And this deck is an absolutely crazy structure deck, giving us all sorts of support for Cyber Dragon and Cyber Dark to power up those decks even more. And I'm really excited to show you guys, I've actually got a bunch of these structure decks to be able to update Cyber Dragons, Cyber Dark, and even do a $30 budget build for you guys, which I am really excited to do for you guys. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description every single video, getting a signed cards mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron, along with test hands. So without further ado, let's pop open one of these and see what we can get. These are really awesome structure decks. I'm really excited to show you guys this one, because this deck, or this structure deck, has so many good reprints in it. There's a single card in here called Infinite Impermanence, which you guys probably know about, that's in here, that is actually pretty much pays for the entire structure deck for what you're getting in here, because it's just such a good card, and it's the first like really easily accessible reprint for the card that it's guaranteed that you're going to get one. So let's really quickly take a look at the playmat, because we always take a look at the playmat. I really would love to get a hold of one of those playmats. That looks really awesome as a like rubber playmat. This structure deck playmat looks awesome. I love the new artwork where you have Cyber End Dragon being controlled by Cyber Dark Dragon. That's really cool. I love that. That's really awesome. And then on the back of the mat, you actually get all sorts of really cool combos and cool power-ups that you can do, and combos to go into all sorts of different cards in the structure deck. But we're going to go ahead and pop open the actual structure deck now and see what we can get out of it, and kind of talk about what we can do with some of these cards, because these cards are absolutely crazy, especially the new Cyber Dark Chimera. That's the card I'm actually looking forward to the most, because it powers up so many different cards, giving us an actual power bond searcher that we've needed for a very long time. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're getting in this structure deck. So first off, we're getting a Cyber Dark Chimera. We're just going to go over the new effects of the new cards, but this card has the ability that you can discard a spell or trap to add a power bond from your deck to your hand. By the way, this card is searchable by a bunch of different cards in this deck, so you don't really even need more than like one or two of it, but this card is absolutely crazy. But what it also does is you get to add a power bond from your deck to your hand, and you can only use dragons or machine type cyber monsters as fusion material this turn. And also, when you fusion summon this turn, you can also banish monsters from your graveyard as materials, and if this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to send a Cyber Dark monster from your deck to the graveyard with a different name from cards in your graveyard. This card is really good, basically giving you a Foolish Burial, giving you a search of the most powerful spell card in the entire deck, Power Bond, and it even turns Power Bond into basically Overload Fusion, which is awesome. We then get a Cyber Dark Realm. Cyber Dark Realm is a really good card in here as well, that when this card is activated, you get to add a Cyber Dark monster from your deck to your hand, which can be your Cyber Dark Chimera. It also has the ability that you add that card with a different name from cards in your graveyard. It also has the ability that during your main phase, you can immediately after this card resolves, you get to normal summon a Cyber Dark monster to your side of the field, giving you basically a free normal summon of your Dark Chimera, which is really good. And also, if you equip a monster from your graveyard by the effect of a Cyber Dark monster that activated when it was normal or special summon, you can equip a cards from your opponent's graveyard instead, which is really good. Then we get into a copy of Cyber End Dragon, which is absolutely awesome looking. I love the way that card looks. It looks so good for being an ultra rare in here. I have secret rare versions of this, but the old school ultra rare ones are just awesome, because they remind me of the ones that came out of Cybernetic Revolution. We then get a copy of Cyber Dark End Dragon, which is the new boss monster of the structure deck. This card is absolutely crazy and has some really amazing effects. It takes a Cyber Dark Dragon plus a Cyber End Dragon. Obviously, with the card artwork, you can tell what it takes to summon this card, and it has 5,000 attack points. This card is absolutely crazy and has the ability that it must be fusion summon or special summon by attributing a level 10 or lower Cyber Dark fusion monster equipped with a Cyber End Dragon. It's unaffected by your opponent's activated effects, and then once per turn, you can equip one monster from either either player's graveyard to this card, and this card can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of cards equipped to it, which is really, really, really good. We then get a Cybernetic Horizon. This card is so good for this deck. It's actually kind of like a Foolish Burial. This card is treated as a Cyber Dark card always as well, and you send two dragons and or machine cyber monsters with different attributes to the graveyard, one each from your hand and deck, to add a dragon or machine cyber monster from your deck to your hand. And if you do, you get to send a machine cyber fusion monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. You only use one each effect of this card once per turn, and you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this, except for machines, which is totally fine. Because basically you're sending your Cyber End Dragon to the graveyard from the extra deck to basically set up for your Cyber Dark End Dragon, which is really good. You can also send cards like Hertz to the graveyard to give you a search off of this card if you send them to the graveyard from the deck or the hand with this card effect, and then send something else that you really don't need that's a Cyber Dark monster from your deck to the graveyard. We then get a Cyber Dragon Hertz. This card is a great searcher for the deck, and I really like that they give us a super rare of this card because it's very important for the deck. We then get a awesome reprint, which is going to be Fusion Deployment. This card is a great card for any fusion-based deck, and I'm glad that they reprinted this card as a super rare. And then this is the card that everybody's after in this structure deck, which is Infinite Impermanence. This card, upon release of the structure deck, is just about worth as much as a single structure deck, which is absolutely crazy to me, and it makes the deck really worth value, and it's going to hold its value in this structure deck because of this card and with how cool the Cyber Dark monsters look. But this card being a reprint in here is just absolutely insane, and I love it. We get an Attachment Cyberon, which is a new card. Also, we're going to go over that effect really quick. You get to target a dragon or machine cyber monster you control and equip this card from your hand or field to it. And then when this card is equipped to a monster, the equipped monster gains 600 attack. And if this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can target one other dragon or machine cyber monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can only use this effect of this card once per turn. This card basically makes all of your normal summons of your Cyber Dark monsters go up to 3,000 upon normal summon, which is really, really good because this card makes them gain 600. They gain the attack as well, which is also 16, which is 22 plus the original 800 attack points. So 16 plus 22 is 3,000, which is really good. We then get a Cyber Dragon, which is really good. Cyber Dragon Zwei. Dre, which is really good. Veer, which is also really good. This is a really good reprint as well, which is the Nashter. Nashter was originally, I believe, only like an ultra rare before this printing. I think it had like 2 printings. So this card is a really good reprint to get it. We've got a Cyber Dragon Core. This card is literally the best card in the entire deck because it searches all the really broken spells. So you got to get 3 copies of the Cyber Dragon Core. We get a Pharaohs, which is no longer needed now that we have Cyber Dragon or the Cyber Dark Chimera. We get Valley, being an old school throwback card that plays into this. Cyber Phoenix, which is still a pretty interesting reprint. And then we get 1 each of Horn, Edge, and Keel, which is really good to basically have all of your Cyber Dark pieces to summon Cyber Dark Dragon. We get Cyber Dark Cannon, which is really good. You can discard this card from your hand to add a machine Cyber Dark monster from your deck to your hand. This card's really good in the deck. We get a Cyber Dark Claw, which searches our Cyber Dark spells and traps, which is also really good. This deck card is definitely going to be a 3 of now, if it wasn't before. We get a Ling Ling, which is an old card that used to be played back. I think this card got released in like Circuit Break, and it basically lets your Cyber Dark monsters attack twice, which is pretty good. We then get a Jizukiro, which is always great to get a Kaiju to be able to out certain cards, especially in a deck like this. We get Gizmek Orochi, the Serpatron Sky Slasher, an okay reprint, but we'll never really use it in the Cyber Dark decks. Gale Dogra, this is a really, really good reprint for this. The Gale Dogra is just so good in here because it's a really needed reprint. You pay 3,000 life points, you send any monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. This is really good because you can send cards like Elder Entity Nis and Herald of the Arclight from the extra deck to the graveyard, which is really good. And this card was really expensive before, and it really did need a reprint. And then we get one of the newer cards, which is Cyber Eternal. This card is a very neat card. It lets you target a machine cyber fusion monster in the graveyard, return to the extra deck, or special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions. Now, there's something important to keep in mind about this card. You do have to first properly summon the fusion monster. You can't just send them to the graveyard with like Cybernetic Horizon and then use this card and expect to be able to monster reborn them. That'll be really broken, and it's not the way the card works. You actually have to properly summon them first, and then finally special summon them back from the graveyard. So keep that in mind as you're you're playing this card. And if a machine cyber fusion monster you control would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead, which gives you a little bit of protection, kind of being almost like a Cyber Dragon version of Return of the Dragon Lords, which is really good. Cyber Repair Plant, great searcher for the deck. Cyber Emergency really did need the reprint as well. Cyber Load Fusion, really, really good card. Kind of weird seeing this card in common. Cyberdark Impact. This card is still like a $50 secret rare, which is absolutely crazy to me that this card is still that expensive as a secret rare, but it did need a reprint, and I'm glad that they printed it in here. Cyberdark Inferno, really good field spell, just kind of like a one of at this point, but still a great card. Future Fusion, always kind of a throwback to Cyber Dragon decks to play Future Fusions. Fusion Tag lets you change the attribute or change the name of a card on your side of the field, which is pretty good. Machine Duplication, having 3 of these is always great in Cyber Dragons. Limiter Removal, so we can do all those crazy OTKs. And then we got one of the other new cards, which is Cyberdark Invasion. Cyberdark Invasion is really good because it lets you, once per turn, you can activate one of the following effects to target a Cyberdark effect monster you control and equip a dragon or machine monster from either player's graveyard to the monster as an equipped spell that gives it 1,000 attack, or send an equipped spell you control to the graveyard that's a machine monster to the grave to destroy a card your opponent controls. So it gives you additional pops. It has awesome artwork and kind of is a throwback to the GX show where Zane actually dueled Atticus, where Atticus was playing Red Eyes and Zane was playing Cyberdark, and he actually equipped Red Eyes to the copy of Cyberdark, which is pretty cool. Cybernetic Revolution, that's pretty cool because it's kind of like a throwback to the Cybernetic Revolution pack. Power Wall, this is kind of cool. It's not really needed though in the structure deck. Call of the Haunted, really good reprint as well. Canada, so you can have like a Book of Moon. Cybernetic Overflow. Overflow is a really good card that pops cards by banishing cards from your graveyard that are Cyber Dragons with different levels. Chimera Tech Overdragon. This card's a really neat little fun tech card in the deck. You don't super need it as much as Rampage Dragon, and Rampage Dragon is just arguably better. Cyber Darkness Dragon is insanely good in this deck. His Cyber Darkness Dragon, his upgraded form, and the upgraded form is really good for this, and I'm really glad that they reprinted it in here. Cyber Dark Dragon, that is so weird to see this card as a common, because I've only ever seen this card as like a super, an ultra, and an ultimate rare, and so it's kind of weird to just see this card now reprinted as a common. We get a Power Bond, which is like a total throwback. I love that they threw it in the back next to all the fusion monsters, like, hey, you know you want to use this with those. And then we get an Overload Fusion as well, which is really, really good for this. It's basically a super polymerization, or not super polymerization, it's basically a Miracle Fusion for all of your Cyber Dragons, which is really cool by fusing into a Cyber Dark Machine Monster or Dark Machine Monster. And then they're showing us off Dawn of Majesty, and then you flip it over and you have the Cyber Dark or Cyber Strike structure deck, which is really cool. So I think they overall did fantastic. I think these are definitely going to hold value. I'm really excited to do a lot of stuff on the channel with these, everything from updating Cyber Dark to Cyber Dragons. Definitely be on the lookout for both of those videos coming soon. I'm going to do a $30 budget build of Cyber Dark as well, so be on the lookout for that one, where I just take 3 of the structure decks, mix them together, and kind of make a deck to show you guys what you can do if you just pick up 3 of the structure decks, which is really cool. And I have all sorts of stuff planned for Cyber Dark. Cyber Dark is one of my favorite decks. I really love the artwork of this deck, and it's just really cool to have a card that actually fuses Cyber Dark Dragon and Cyber End Dragon together. Zane's 2 ace monsters, and Zane is one of my favorite characters from any of the Yu-Gi-Oh series, so this is a really, really good structure deck. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. That was Cyber Strike, the new structure deck. I think it's absolutely crazy. I really am excited to do all sorts of stuff for this one for you guys, because this deck is absolutely nuts. It's one of the best structure decks we've gotten in a long time, and this one that I've been excited for the most out of all the announced structure decks. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.